Well, my musical career started in Memphis, Tennessee at Treadwell High School. We formed a group called the Gentrys. We had a million-seller record called Keep On Dancing, Keep On Doing the Jerk. We toured with the Beach Boys, Sonny and Cher. I was a friend of Jerry the King Lawler's in Memphis, Tennessee, and I went to Treadwell High School. He went to Treadwell High School. Jerry got into the world of wrestling. So as the years went by, I became a big wrestling fan, and he always liked the music from the 60s. So one day he gave me a call. He was going to do a local record with a group in town. So they asked me would I like to sing backup on this particular song. So Jerry and I got together, and he said, Jimmy, you were a great athlete in school. You played baseball and basketball and football. And he said, every week we play softball. He goes, would you like to come out and play? So I started playing softball with him on Sunday. One thing led to another. He said, I know you do the music for us and everything else, but would you like to maybe manage me? And I thought, oh my gosh, it was a dream come true for me because I'd always loved professional wrestling. So I started managing Jerry the King Lawler. Was the first guy I ever really managed. So that's how I really got into the wrestling business, was through Jerry Lawler. I've managed the Honky Tonk Man, the Hart Foundation, which is Bret Hart, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, the Rougeau brothers, Raymond Rougeau, and of course Jacques Rougeau, and also managed Jacques as the Mountie. I had King Kong Bundy. I had Terry Funk and Dory Funk. Ted DiBiase, Erwin R. Shyster. I've managed the Nasty Boys. I mean, it's just been so many. But the ones I like the most, I think, of course, managing Hulk Hogan was great. The Hart Foundation was tremendous. Some of the people that we like to go against was, of course, the British Bulldogs. The Bulldogs always loved to play ribs on everybody. I mean, the first time Jerry Lawler first came up to the WWF, his crown was sitting in the dressing room. And I can't say they were really responsible for it, but somebody went and took a poop in Jerry's crown. When Jerry got ready to go to the ring and looked into it, of course, he couldn't wear it out there. But, to this day, nobody knows who it was. Was it the Bulldogs? Was it the Hart Foundation? Was it Kurt Hennig? I guess maybe one day when wrestling finally closes the curtain on the final chapter, maybe whoever did it will come out and tell the truth. There's so many crazy things that I've done in professional wrestling. Of course, when I was in New York with the WWF, I dressed up as Peggy Sue with Honky Tonk Man against George the Animal Steel, which he proceeded to rip my bra off, my pantyhose off, so that was kind of crazy. That was in the WWF. In the WCW, I kind of had a crazy match where I wore a chicken outfit if I had lost a match, which I lost, of course, and wore the chicken outfit. And, of course, in Memphis, Tennessee, there were so many crazy matches I was in. Of course, I tagged up with Andy Coppin, the late, great Andy Coppin. I was the partner one time with Jesse the Body Ventura, the governor of Minnesota, and we fought Jerry Lawler and the San Diego Chicken. So through my career, it's been so many crazy, wild matches and things that I've done, it's hard to really just decide on one. Since I was never really a wrestler, I was in the matches a lot, with Andy Coppin and people like that. But the only belt I really ever held was the Southern Handicap Championship belt. And I guess the reason why they call it a handicap belt, because if you ever saw me in the ring and wrestle, you would know. I mean, I don't know how to drop an arm lock or drop kick or anything else. I've always just been able to just go in there and kind of freelance. My favorite move was running, because by me not being a great athlete or professional wrestler, my feet was probably my greatest asset, because when I got into trouble, whether it was fighting Jerry the King Lawler or Handsome Jimmy Valiant or any of the guys in Memphis, or even going up against Hulk Hogan or Bret Hart after Jimmy Hart had turned on him with the First Family, it was feet don't fail me now. That was my great thing about me. I was really quick in the ring, able to get in and out of the ring, stay away from trouble. One of my all-time matches in Memphis, Tennessee was Jackie Fargo. Jackie Fargo was such a legend back then, and Jerry Lawler and I both grew up watching Jackie Fargo, so I think the match I had against Jackie Fargo will always stand out in my mind. By the way, he beat me about 20 seconds. He wrapped me up like a pretzel. So it was great. Well, the Mouth of the South, along with a couple other guys, have put together a brand new wrestling company out of Universal Studios called the XWF. The jury's still out whether we'll ever get on TV or not, or ever make this thing happen. But Rowdy Roddy Piper's with us, Sable. We've got Bobby the Brain Heenan, Kurt Hennig, even Hulk Hogan's on some of our tapes with Jerry the King Lawler. We got a lot of fresh young talent too, so hopefully we got our fingers crossed that one day you'll be able to flip that old boob tube on and see the XWF. Brian Shields gave me a call along with a guy named Rick Fox. They're my favorite tag team at Acclaim. I want you to know that right now. So they kind of got together, and Brian had known I'd done a little bit of music for WCW and the WWF, and I'd mentioned that. He got a hold of Tricky Ricky Fox, and he gave us a call, and we were able to put some things together for him. And so far, they've liked it very much. But it's kind of unique. I go back and like to look at the matches. And some of the theme songs we used back then, and it kind of helps me with an idea on what we need to create, that we have a little piece of the past, but still a little piece of the future mixed together. Who is the smartest man in professional wrestling, and why am I? You know why? Because Jimmy Hart has managed some of the biggest names in this great sport. And like I always say, never trust a midget. Music is so much a part of life. It's if you go to a funeral, they have music to make you cry. If you go to church on Sunday, the music's there to kind of bring you up and lift your spirits. If you're on the elevator, you hear music. If you're in a restaurant, you hear music, and the sign just fell. We did hits like Buff Bagwell's Buff Daddy, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall's song that we had for them, and I just blew that. Start this over again. I'm so sorry. Damn it. I'm sorry. Hang on. What, Mike? What? When you've managed people like Hulk Hogan, the Hart Foundation, the Nasty Boys, Greg the Hammer Valentine, the Road Warriors, when you've named... Let me start over. I'm so sorry. Hang on. I'm sorry that the thing bled through the wall. Who is the smartest man in professional wrestling, and why am I? Because, you see, I've named the biggest... one more time. No, that's okay. I thought... thank you for just... these walls are so thin anyhow. You think you're talking to Bobby the Brain Heenan or to Mr. Fuji, or you... Let me start over one more time. I'm sorry. Hey, Mike. You're not going to step on me, baby. You know why? Because never trust them. Let me do this over. If I got to do it faster, hang on, let me get something in my head here. Because we shouldn't be much longer. Thank you. Hey, I'm the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, the world's greatest wrestling manager. And if you don't believe me, just one more time. You can talk on the phone, just not real loud. Thank you. Hey, I'm the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, the world's greatest wrestling manager. And if you don't believe it, just ask me. Jimmy Hart gave us our money's worth. He was entertaining. And what are you going to do when the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, and Hulk Hogan run wild on you? He was flamboyant. This is Jimmy Hart right up here, looking so cool and so sharp. He was wild. He was crazy. It's great. He was silly. He was stupid. Of course, there's the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. He was funny. He broke our hearts. He made us cry. He made us laugh. But you know what? He gave us our money's worth.